Screen printing is very much so an art and a process that cannot be just learned overnight. And in order to become a great screen printer, it's a good idea for your shop to continuously conduct what is called research and development. As you probably have heard, R&D. Now, when it comes to screen printing, how do we R&D properly and really learn as much as possible so that we're putting out the best possible product at the quickest possible rate? When it comes to R&D, it first starts with the materials you're going to be using. Screen printing revolves the use of a lot of chemicals and inks and additives. And by, changing each one of these types of chemicals, inks, or additives, we can kind of really change the entire effect that we're getting. And when you're a little bit slower, that's when you want to be doing a lot of R&D. Pretty much the industry standard is January, February, and March are by far the slowest months of the year compared to the rest of the year, and that's when a lot of shops want to do R&D. Now, when it comes to obtaining chemicals and inks and additives and testing them, it's a really good idea to contact manufacturers and suppliers or dealers of manufacturers and try to get your hands on either free or discounted samples. A lot of the ink suppliers out there, they don't really state right off the bat, hey, contact us and we'll get you some samples. But if you build a relationship and support and some rapport with a sales rep of a company, they typically will really take care of you as they want to learn about what your business does and then again, provide you with the perfect products to test and try to convince you that theirs is the best. Now, that is something really important to realize, that just like any industry, screen printing has a lot of different suppliers that are all going to claim that they make the best product. And when it comes to screen printing, a lot of it is the setup of the job and then how the ink performs on the press, how it actually performs as far as durability and all of that. And, a lot of shops are very price conscious, and what they want to do is they want to go cheap. That's not a good idea because, labor is the most expensive part of the shop. So by giving your labor the best tools, supplies, and so forth to work with, you'll make them more efficient and you won't drive them crazy compared to using the cheap chemicals and inks that are not going to necessarily work as well as some of the others. When it comes to R&D, whenever you're doing it, it is very important that you are recording everything that is being learned. It doesn't do us much good if we do a bunch of testing if we're not actually recording what we're doing. So a good way to look at R&D is to go back to your old science fair, where it all revolves around the scientific method. We are going to first essentially state a problem, or we're going to raise a question, and then we're going to state a hypothesis on how we're going to improve it or fix it. Then we're going to conduct an experiment. We're going to then come to a conclusion and generate some results. And those results need to be recorded so whoever wasn't a part of the actual testing can easily look at them and know what actually was learned from it. R&D, it's not necessarily cheap. It's not direct income coming in. So a lot of shops, they kind of skimp on it sometimes, and it's not a good idea because if you're not using the best materials and supplies, you may be just continuously swimming upstream and realize that price does not mean better always. That's why you really need to do a lot of testing of every manufacturer's products because price can often be way lower for an ink that prints better and performs better, but you kind of have to see it firsthand because every single ink manufacturer and supplier is going to say, well, this is the best. You have to buy this. And that's where it's really important that you don't just take someone's word and you do the testing yourself, whether it be in your production space with inks and additives or in your dark room where you're messing with all the different chemicals, whether it be degreaser, reclaimer, haze remover, emulsion, and so forth. Again, there's so many variables that go into screen printing that we really just must try to get every single one of them perfect, and that's what we're going to do through R&D. The last thing to think about is, I don't care what type of R&D you're doing, you can only control one variable at a time. That means you cannot be altering multiple variables and expect to be able to test it against something else if you're changing more than one variable. So for example, if you're going to code a screen and you want to know how long does it take to burn an image onto this mesh screen with this much emulsion coded like this. If you're going to test that, you need to do it on two exact screens, but the variable that might be different is you might coat one with 2 on the squeegee side and only 1 and 1 on the other screen. That is one variable you are changing because they're the exact same mesh count screens. Maybe you have the same amount of coats, but one's white, one's yellow. Again, we're trying to control, but the same, again, mesh counts, one variable at a time whenever you're conducting R&D. If you have any questions on why you should conduct R&D or how to do it, please do not hesitate contacting us. Thank you.